Hi, I'm Tony Lawrence, and today I want to talk about the possibility of a beta Siri coming before iOS 27. And the reason that I'm mentioning this is that Mark Gurman said something about the distinct possibility that Siri will be released as a beta product. And that makes sense, regardless, that Apple doesn't want to assume that it is perfect and get people all upset when it makes mistakes. So releasing it as a beta product takes some of the sting out of any errors that it might make, unless they're very serious, of course. So when Apple has had beta products like this before, and if I remember right, Apple Intelligence was released as a beta at one point. And it doesn't have to wait for the iOS 27 betas necessarily. It could be released as part of iOS 26.6 or 26.7, whatever. If that happens, I really want to jump right on that and find out how well it does. One of the things I want to know is whether it will be aware of subtle mistakes that are built into shortcuts. So shortcuts is supposed to pick up artificial intelligence, and I'm calling it Siri. It may be built in an entirely different way, but it doesn't matter. The net effect is that you tell shortcuts what you want it to do, and it builds the shortcut for you. Now, one of the things that I have is a little shortcut to start testing Apple Intelligence in shortcuts as soon as it's available to do so. And what I want to test is what happens to it when there is a mistake in shortcuts, and whether the Apple Intelligence is going to be aware of this mistake before it does anything and says it's completed a shortcut. I have a particular example in mind. When shortcuts is handling mail, if you write a shortcut for mail, it says that it can give you the to address in mail, the from and the to address. It actually can't, because shortcuts, as it stands right now in iOS 26.5, does not include any access to mail headers. That seems to me like a tremendous omission, and perhaps it will be corrected in iOS 27, and if it is, then great, that's wonderful. But here's what happens. If you can tell shortcuts that you want to expose the to, for example, and I do. One of the things I would like to check is whether any use is being made of a hide my email address coming to me, and whether it's being abused. So what I want to do is find the to whatever at iCloud addresses and see if they are appearing in mail and who they are from, and all that information, so that I can look at it and say, okay, somebody has sold my hide my email address, and I want to get rid of that so I don't get any more spam email from it. I can't do that with shortcuts. Maybe there is a way that I just haven't figured around it yet by doing something else, but you certainly cannot do it from shortcuts itself, because although it says it can expose a to address, it can't, because it does not have any access to headers. So first thing I want to do is tell shortcuts, whether it's by way of Siri or whether it's just by talking to it itself, I want to tell it to build me that shortcut that would tell me these things. If it thinks it can do it because of what shortcut documentation says, then I want to see what happens next. Does it try to run it? Does it know that it failed? After all, it will run successfully and just not show that to information, the to address. And from the observer's position, if you aren't very knowledgeable about what you asked for, there doesn't seem to be anything wrong. But there is something wrong, it's missing, and will Siri know, will shortcuts know that? Siri, whatever, Apple Intelligence, whatever you want to call it, will it know it, and will it realize that it has not correctly made the shortcut? And if it does realize it hasn't made the shortcut, what's it going to do about it? Is it going to tell me it can't make it? Or is it going to tell me why it can't make it? These are the things I want to find out immediately if I can, and why I hope that it will be, well, either in the beta editions of iOS 27 or in iOS 26 itself. Can you think of anything else that we should test in Apple Intelligence and Shortcuts? If so, tell me in the comments. Love to know.